I got on a plane with a 9-hour flight, twiddling my thumbs and thinking I have to tap into a jail mentality now. And I remember just getting on my knees. I don't think I've ever cried so much in my life.
Sure.
I remember the tears would just, come down and I had goosebumps everywhere. And the only thing I remember saying was thank you. I think everybody has something to add on.
Yes.
Coach Dom has a lot to add on. John is, the head honcho. And, Jerry and Shane have a lot to add on.
Oh, yeah.
on the jiu-jitsu side. Conway has a lot to add on. And that's why I love the culture of Syndicate so much. Great fighters aren't always great coaches and vice versa. A lot of people ask me, like, why do you do this, bro? Like, you're always limping, you're taking ibuprofen, It's like, what you're doing, It's like, what are you doing with your life? It's what I love. So I'm always the guy that says, discipline over motivation. Motivation will get you started. Discipline will keep you going. You just got to be ready and willing to say yes. Your best decision is on the other side of insecurity.
All right, Coach, we were talking a little bit about, the history and how you got to Syndicate MMA. And we're gonna start from there, man. You were telling me, we just get right into this podcast, man.
Yeah.
And you were telling me some of the hardships that you were going through. And this is a self-improvement kind of, podcast with going through people's histories and their traumas. And it's just to help, the audience maybe get some lessons off, what you have to say in your experiences, what you've gone through. So can you talk a little bit about, we'll just start right there. So how did you get to Syndicate, man?
So let's start, honestly, I think Syndicate involves the good part of my life.
Sure.
Right? I think we should, to know why I got to Syndicate, I guess we have to understand why things that happened in my life that built up to that moment of me wanting to come back to the United States. It's a crazy story, and I think that's why I am the way I am as far as being disciplined and persistent with so many things in life, even after you faced hardships.
Interesting. Yep.
I was born in the U.S., Miami. I lived in Miami till I was about 16. My parents were Brazilian. My dad retired from his job, decided to go back to Brazil because at the time the dollar was about $3 in Brazil, so he'd make a better living.
Yep.
With his retirement, I was only 16, so I had to go with them. Went to Brazil, a little bit of a culture shock in the beginning. I really didn't know what to expect. I would go to Brazil every year, but it was more of a 1-month thing for vacation.
Yeah.
Never really lived there. So it was a culture shock.
What's going on, guys? If you're enjoying this podcast, please don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Only if you're getting value out of it on YouTube and also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a rating and follow. And also, I also write a blog newsletter from what I learned from my incredible guests that I have on. So sign up for the email list and get updates on the podcast. Thank you for your love and support. Now back to the show. Was it which part were you living in? Were you living in?
So I was living in the Northeast, which is considered one of the poorest regions of Brazil, but it's a beautiful place. It's called Fortaleza. It's right on the coast, warm waters. It's
a lot
wonderful.
of culture.
A lot of culture. Very, very deep culture. So I didn't adapt. I was 16 years old and they put me in school and everything was different and the clothes they were wearing was different. The food was different, even though I would go there every year. It's just a different experience. At the time, my older brother, by the time I turned almost 18, so I was in Brazil for like a year and a half, he called me and he said, hey, I know you don't really like it there. Come back to California, come work with me. He had a clothing brand at the time. So I went back to the US, worked at his clothing brand for about a year and a half.
Was it like a successful one? You guys were making revenue or he was
It was a pretty big clothing business. It involved the fighting world also, which was great. I was already a jiu-jitsu practitioner. I was already a kickboxer. My first martial art was Taekwondo when I was 5. So I'd been in the martial arts world for a long time. And then I decided at almost 19 that I was going to get into the military. Signed up for the military, joined the army. And then this is where my life really takes a big turn.
Here we go.
And the reason, and the funny thing is, I've never really put this out in this way. This is going to be the first time.
I'm honored.
Right? I was young. I was 19 years old, enlist in the military, go through basic training, and I'm assigned to Fort Hood, Texas. That was my base. I was 19 Delta. I was a Cav Scout. Loved it. I think I was really good at it. You know, I was a very driven young man.
What made you decide, like, what was it in your head that wanted you to approach that career being in the military? Was it just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing? Yeah. Because that's a lot of kids, right?
I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted a change. And I was just like, I'm going to do this. Not everybody in my family agreed, but I'm like, screw it. I'm going to do it. At 19 years old, you think you know everything. I went in there, went through basic training, got stationed in Fort Hood. About 6 to 7 months in, already stationed in Fort Hood, my mom calls me and says, hey, your dad is not doing too well. We need you to come back to Brazil. So we tried through the Army getting my release to go back, and they said no.
Interesting.
Obviously, my mom wasn't too happy. She needed my help. We only had a younger brother in Brazil at the time. So she contacted the Red Cross, and they contacted the Army, and I was released for 14 days.
Just 14 days, yeah.
I was on leave.
Right.
I go to Brazil. When I get there, the first contact with the doctor, my dad was in the hospital, is that he has cancer, and it was spread all over, and it was terminal. And he said, he's either going to die here or at home, and you guys just have at this point to decide where you want him to die. My dad and I weren't ever really close. Like he was never really a good dad. But at that moment, I felt that I had to be a good son, because I think that's what the cycle is about, right? They take care of you, and then you take care of them.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
He never took good care of me, but it was my duty to do what I had to do for him, right? A week goes by. We're able to build his room as an emergency unit. So we had all the equipment in the room in order for him to be able to go home. My mom pulls me aside and says, I don't know if I can do this if you're not here to help. And at that time, you know, I had to put this on a scale of, do I support my family and my mother and my younger brother, or do I go back to the military with honor and pride and to defend my country? It was a really, really hard decision. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was my family. And I was going to put my family first at that point. So then I did what every soldier dreads to do. I didn't go back. And of course, I became AWOL.
Yeah. Dishonorable, or is it called dishonorable?
So it's AWOL is absent without leave, right? That's the first step. And then you become a deserter. After a month, you become a deserter. And that's pretty serious.
Yeah, right.
You know? So I stayed. And my dad was alive for another 4 years.
Really?
Kept him there.
With the doctor saying terminal?
Yes.
What kind of cancer was it, Coach?
I believe it started in his lungs. He was a big smoker, right? So 4 years later, he passed away. And, you know, obviously I was still in Brazil, and my grandparents ended up passing away, and then my mother ended up passing away. So with that time, I was in Brazil, and I was kind of just afraid. You know, I was like, I can't even go back to the US at this point, because they're going to be waiting for me. But in my head, I was always thinking, I don't think I did anything wrong, because I think I made the right decision. I chose my family, and I chose to support my mom and my younger brother, you know? So 15 years went by, and COVID hits. And COVID hit Brazil pretty hard. And being a developing country, it gets hit harder than any other country that is already in full development or is a first world country.
Economically,
yeah. and you know, a lot of people dying, a lot of, you know, people losing their jobs and losing everything they had. So those were rough times. There were nights where I would come home and, you know, the light was cut off 2-3 times. because we didn't have money to pay for it.
Mm.
At that time, my brother was already out of college. He was already done. So I was at that time, Brazil was getting hit pretty hard. I was caught up in the middle of it with little to nothing. And that's when my brother offered me help and said, hey, you got to come back. You got to come back. And I know things are rough. And I said, bro, I don't have money for anything. I don't have money to pay for a plane ticket. I can't. And plus, I'm going to get fucked up if I go back.
How do you mean?
Into the army. Like I get back into the country at this point, they're waiting for me. I'm going to go to jail.
Gotcha.
And I was like,
I guess I needed to clarify that it was the American military.
Yes, it was here in the U.S. Okay. Yes. So it was in the U.S.
Gotcha.
I was in Brazil for 15 years, but the military doesn't really have the power to go into Brazil and get me. So I was kind of stuck there for 15 years, and I'm like, I can't go back. If I go back, I'm going to go to jail.
Right.
So at that point, I'm like, everything is going wrong. I'm stuck in a country that is going underwater because of COVID. My brother was able to help me with a lawyer, a military lawyer. So I talked to him, I explained my situation, and he said, Max, this happens a lot more than you think. There's ways around it. You're probably going to go to jail.
Really? That's what he said.
Yeah,
there's no like.
It's like you're probably going to go to jail, but at this point, would you rather stay 6 months in jail and get discharged and live your life and have a better chance in the U.S.? I said, I guess it's worth it, to have a better life and to go through those hardships. And, my family was always a family, especially my mom. She really had a lot of faith. She had faith in something, and she would always tell me, have faith in something. Doesn't matter. Don't judge anybody because of who they believe in. Just have faith in something, whatever that is. And, I was alone by myself at that time. My younger brother was done through college. My mom had passed away. I really had nobody. And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to do it. I talked to the lawyer. We put a plan together. He said, you're going to come into the U.S. through this airport. You're probably going to get arrested there.
Wow.
You're going to wait. And, I'll be with you every step of the way. My older brother helped me pay for the lawyer. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I got on a plane with a 9-hour flight, twiddling my thumbs and thinking I have to tap into a jail mentality now. And,
anticipation, man.
It sucks to know what's
even more
happen.
Right.
Get to the airport and I'm waiting in the customs line and I'm, my turn is coming up and I'm thinking, okay, this is it.
Yep.
I grab my phone. I text my younger brother. I say, hey, I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again. They're probably going to take my phone and just let it be,
That's heavy. That is heavy.
So,
I've never heard of a real life situation like that. That's why I like having these conversations, just to picture myself going through that and then anticipating on a 9-hour flight with all this anxiety and all the shit that's going on in your life. The military, the MP is coming for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And at that point, the reason I'm saying this, Chris, is because there's a lot of people out there that have had this happen. And I was embarrassed about it for a very long time. But at the end of the day, I was thinking, why? I made a choice, and I had to stand by it and be a man and stand by it. And it was time for me to deal with the consequences, whatever those consequences were. My turn comes up at customs. She takes my passport and she looks at my passport and she goes, what's the reason for coming back? And something in my head, I had this feeling that just told me, don't say everything. So I just said, well, I think it was time. I'm back. She goes, how long have you been out of the country now? And I said, 15 years. She goes, oh, 15 years. And I said, yes. My passport while I was in Brazil had expired. So I had to go to the American consulate and get a temporary passport, which is a little bit different. It's very thin. It has some emergency lettering on the passport. So she said, so that's why you have an emergency passport? And I said, yes, my other one was expired. She's like, okay, follow me. And then when she said that, in my head, I'm like, all right.
You're fucked.
I'm this is it.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
this is where I'm gonna, this is where it starts.
I would have figured the setting. For some reason, when you got dropped off, there's these
police
guys with
bro.
guns, and then they're like Hannibal lecturing you
Bro,
with a mask. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
thought the same thing, but I'm like, you know, I'm thinking they're only gonna get me when I get in the customs because that's when they actually scan my passport. And then she says, "Follow me." And then when she says, "Follow me," in my head, I'm like, "This is game over. I'm done." Takes me into this room with a bunch of police officers. They have my passport. I'm just sitting there. And I mean, I'm trying not to make it look like I'm nervous, but I was about to shit my, I mean, come on, bro. Like, who wouldn't, right? And I'm thinking all these things are going through my head. Okay, I have to tap into this mentality. I can't let anybody be, you know, try to take me over in jail. I have to, you know, impose myself. I have to be strong. And I was confident. I had the technique. I was a fighter. I knew what I had to do.
how many years were you fighting at that time? You've been doing it for a while, and
Oh yeah, this was
years.
This is 3 years ago.
Oh shit!
So
That's right, Kobe.
right.
Damn, dude.
So this huge police officer, probably like 6'5", comes out of one of the doors with my passport, says my last name. I stand up, and at that point, I'm like, "Fuck, man!" I'm like, so he's the one that's gonna arrest me. He comes up to me and goes, "Max?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "So why were you out for so long?" And I said, "Well, just dealing with some family issues, and I decided to come back. Time to come back, you know. Brazil isn't doing really well right now, and I have more opportunities in the US." And he looked at me and he goes, "Okay." He hands me my passport and says, "You're good." And I looked at the passport and I said, "Okay." And I grabbed the passport and I started walking out of the airport towards the baggage claim. I grabbed my bag because I only had a backpack.
Yeah.
I walk out of the airport and I'm thinking, what just happened?
Did you feel like someone was gonna come after you when you were walking?
Yes,
like when you turned your back?
I'm like, there's something wrong.
That's crazy, dude.
I'm like, is this right? So I call my lawyer and I said, "Hey." He goes, "Why are you calling me?" And I was like, I'm outside the airport." He's like, "What do you mean you're outside the airport?" And I'm like, he looked at my passport and he said I could go. And he's like, "There's no way that could have happened. You should be in the system from being AWOL." And I'm like, "Okay, then what am I supposed to do?" And he goes, "Well, there's two things you can do. You can either go about your life and, you know, if somebody ever stops you for a speeding ticket, that might come up.
Like a warrant for your
arrest. Yeah. And I'm like, look, man, I came to solve this problem. This is going to sound crazy, but if I made it here, I'm going to solve this problem. Where do I go?" And then he just said, "Okay, you're in Dallas. You have to go to Oklahoma City. There's an army base called Fort Seal. No, forgot the name. I don't remember the name right now. It's not Fort Seal.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know." He said, "Find a way to get there." I'm like, "I'm in Dallas."
Right.
He goes, I call my brother. My brother calls a lift for me.
A lift in the
car.
Okay.
Pick me up at the airport, and the guy drives me to Oklahoma City.
No way.
And I'm on the way, and the guy comes in and he goes, "Okay." So he taps on the app and he looks back and he goes, "Oklahoma?" And I'm like, "Sorry, bro." He drives me to Oklahoma City, and I get there. I get out of the car.
How long was that?
It was 3 hours.
Yeah. Because I've heard, like when I used to live in San Diego, I mean, they drive people from LA, so it's not too far-fetched, but
no, like I did Lyft for a long time. Like,
yeah,
I used to do Lyft in LA. I took people to Mexico, but I was like, all right, whatever. He takes me. I literally come out of that car with my backpack, and I walk straight into Fort Seal, Oklahoma. That's the name, Fort Seal. Walk up to the main gate, look at the military police, and I said, "Hi, my name is Max Soares. I'm coming back from AWOL." And the guy looks
just like that. Just like that.
Just got to rip the fucking Band-Aid, right? I'm like, fuck it. I mean, if I said I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
That's a great mentality to have. Just do what you're there for.
The guy said, "Okay, let me grab some paperwork." He goes, "Okay," starts getting my information. He goes, "How long have you been out?" And I said, 15 years. And then he stops for like half a second. He looks up and he goes, how long? And I said, 15 years. He goes, man, I don't even have paperwork for that.
Shit.
So then he calls the military police. They come and pick me up. Guy comes out of the car, very nice guy. Said, hey man, I know you served in the military. You know, I don't want to disrespect you. I'm going to put you in the back of this, police car. I'm not going to cuff you up. Put your hands behind your back. I got into the police car. He took me to this building. They put me in, they grabbed my bag, and they put me in a jail cell. In my head, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going to be. Finally,
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to be.
Was it a big facility? Like
It was
the
a
jail
big
cell?
military facility.
was, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a jail cell, but it was a cell. Like
Ye-
you had a metal bed and a toilet. So to me, that's
And it was particularly for military.
yes, only for military.
Okay.
So I got in there. I sat down. He comes in like 10 minutes later and he says, we're going to have to fingerprint you. We're not arresting you. We just need to have this in the system since you're in here. They fingerprint me. And he says, somebody's going to come pick you up. 10 minutes later, somebody comes up in a uniform. Says, Soares? I said, yes. Like, you're coming with me. I was like, okay. Puts me in like a big military cargo van, starts driving me around the base, taking me to this other building. And he goes, how long have you been out? And I said, 15 years. And then he says this number. He asks what if it was a 15 or whatever. I don't really remember what it was. But I'm like, what is that? And he goes, well, did they catch you or did you turn yourself in? I was like, no, I turned myself in. He's like, oh, so you're a whatever number. And he goes, my name is, I forgot his name also. He goes, I was out for 12 years. And I'm looking at him and like, you're in a uniform?
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And he goes, bro, it's like, man, it happens all the time. People leave for a long periods of time. And
Like the second time you heard that.
yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. They take me to these barracks. They grab my passport. They grab my phone. They take me up to a room, pretty big room with a bed, dresser, and a bathroom. Like, these are your quarters. I was like, okay. They then take me down. They kind of give me a very quick rundown of the way things work. They're like, you're going to be discharged through the base, but we don't know if we're going to accept you yet. So you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 days. And if we accept you, you're going to be discharged through this base, which means you're probably going to be here for, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Some people are here for longer. It all depends. So I'm like, okay. Every day we were able to grab our phones at 5 p.m. till 9 o'clock at night. And all I did was I would grab my phone. I would call my brother in Brazil. And I would kind of scroll through the internet a little bit. Then I would go, there was a gym downstairs.
Yep.
I would shadow box. I would lift. But mind you, I got there. I flew out of Brazil on a Sunday. I got to the U.S. Monday morning. I was in that base by Monday afternoon, Fort Seal. Next morning, Tuesday, I wake up and they put us in a room. It's like a TV room. There's just old movies going on all day. Everybody's kind of in the same place.
Right.
People that did things wrong in the military or caught with drugs or discharged, whatever it was. Everybody had done something wrong. And they would take us to chow 3 times a day. And we would be there all day. And early in the morning, we would have to clean the whole floor and wax the whole floor and clean the bathrooms.
This was still in Fort Seal.
This is Fort Seal.
Oklahoma City. I
Yes.
mean, Oklahoma City.
It's
right?
all, yeah. It's
Okay,
Oklahoma
okay,
City.
okay.
So I'm there Monday. I wake up next morning, Tuesday. The first sergeant calls me into his office and he says, what's your story? And I explain my story, same thing I just told you.
Yep.
And then he asked me, so you're telling me that you went through customs, you could have gone anywhere, and you decided to come all the way over here and turn yourself in? I was like, yes. And he goes, why did you do that? And I said, because I needed to live the process of making you guys understand what I did was not wrong. I had to make a choice, and I have to tell you guys that. I have to be able to live up. If this was a mistake, then I have to live up to it. I have to be man enough to pay for my mistake.
Own it. Yeah.
However that is. If it's being here for 6 months, if it's having to do yard work in the military, it doesn't matter. At this point, I've lost everybody in my family. I've got 2 brothers and a sister, and that's it. This is when I have to do this. I don't have kids. I don't have anything. And then he goes, okay, you can go back up to your room. Next morning, Wednesday, he calls me in again. He said, do you have a military lawyer? Do you have a civilian lawyer? I said, yes, I have a civilian lawyer that also works as a military lawyer. Okay, give me his contact. Give him his email and his phone number. Thursday morning, calls me in again, sits me down, and goes, do you want to re-enlist and stay in the military?
Was this guy kind of the ward of that prison? Like,
Yes.
kind of, he was the head
he was
honcho,
the first
kind of.
sergeant. Yes, he's the one
Gotcha,
that kind
gotcha.
of controlled the whole building.
Yeah, because comparing it to a military police, I kind of know how it works because I know some people, you know, in the system. And yeah, the ward, he seems like that guy, the shot caller, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then he calls me in Thursday. He's like, do you want to re-enlist in the military? I said, no. And I'm 37.
Mm.
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. You know? He's like, okay, sign these papers. This is just stating that you do not want to re-enlist.
I'm sorry, Coach. Before that answer, were you thinking like, if I say no, then there's a probability that he might just be like, okay, well, fuck you, like stay in jail?
Honestly, no, that did not go through my head simply because at that point, I'm like, fuck it. I'm already here to go through the mud anyways.
Right.
And I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be in the military anymore,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So I said no. I signed the papers. Friday morning, he calls me again. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Right.
And I'm like, there's either something very right or very wrong that is happening right now because I have gone into his office every single day of this week.
Sure.
So he calls me in and he asks, you know, okay, sign these papers. And I'm thinking, I mean, at that point, I'm not asking what the hell it is. You know, in my head, I'm screwed anyways. I'm just signing everything.
You just, yeah.
You know, I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, all right, well, you don't want to re-enlist and you're good to go. And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, just go back to my room.
Yeah, right.
And then he goes, no, you're good to go. And then I said, what do you mean I'm good to go? Well, like back to the movie room. And he goes, no, you're good to go. And I'm like, First Sergeant, I'm good to go where?
Right.
Because I don't really care what the hell's going on.
Could you explain yourself a little
He
bit?
just kind of, you know, looked down and kind of shook his head. He didn't laugh at all. He was a very serious guy.
Okay.
And he's like, no, man, you're good to go. You can grab your stuff and you can leave. And I'm like, and I'm looking at him like, what do you mean? Like, I can really just leave? And he goes, yes. You know, you're going to be discharged, but you're free to go. And I'm like, you're telling me that I can get out of here and grab a plane and go home? And he's like, yes. If you need a ride to the airport, the guys up front, the front desk will take you. They'll take you to the airport. And I'm just like, why?
Right. I think that's
You know?
what we all want to know.
And then he goes, well,
And how?
you came back. You were man enough to do what you had to do, and I get it. So there's no need for you to be here. You know, it was almost he didn't say it, but to me it was almost a reward for being a man,
For you owning up to
for
it.
owning up to my mistake. You know, and coming back. And honestly, a lot of people wouldn't have done it. You know, obviously I had the support of my older brother to come back, but it's not easy to go into something knowing exactly what you're going to face. I think it's easier when you go into something and you have no idea what the hell is going to go on, because then it is what it is.
Yeah, right.
But when you go into something knowing what's going to happen, it's pretty intense. Like, it's very, very stressful. So then I grabbed my stuff. They took me to the airport. I called my older brother. He was literally flying out to somewhere. He's like, there's nobody home. I'm going to book you a hotel in town where you are for the weekend, because it was Friday.
Yep.
Monday morning, you fly to California. I stayed in Oklahoma City for 2 days. There was nothing to do, but I was the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how were you feeling from when you got out? Like, take me through when he said you're good to go. I mean, I could only imagine. I'm sure there was still some confusion because it's like that's not
Honestly,
how it works, right? It's almost.
It took me a while to soak in, but what I clearly remember is going back to my room, and I remember just getting on my knees, and I don't think I've ever cried so much in my life.
Sure.
I remember the tears would just come down, and I had goosebumps everywhere, and the only thing I remember saying was thank you. And honestly, I don't even know who I was saying thank you to. It could have been God. It could have been my mother that's up in heaven. I don't know. All I was saying was thank you.
Yeah.
And that just kind of brought me back to, cream floats to the top. And, you do good, you get good. And I was finally able to prove to them that, was it wrong what I did, militarily speaking, if that word even exists?
Yeah.
Yes, it was wrong, because
As far as their procedures,
I was supposed to be back in 2 weeks, and I never came back for 15 years. That's very wrong. Do I advise people to do it? No. Be very sure of what you're doing when you get into the military.
yes,
It's very honorable. I was very proud of doing it. A lot of people might see it in the wrong way. A lot of people might point the finger at me and say, you're a coward. A lot of people might say, I respect you for going what you went through and coming back, facing it when you didn't really have to. Of course, it was a very tough, easy decision in a way, because I was living tough times. And in my head, the math was mathing when I thought of 6 months in jail and having the rest of my life to live in my country and have a lot more opportunities than I was having in a developing country.
Yep.
The math was there. It was right. That just proved to me that being honest was the right thing. And that's the way I kind of faced everything else in my life after that.
Are you spiritual?
I am.
Yeah. Is that the cause to what happened, or were you that before that? Because your mom, like how she said that, have faith in something. What was the cause of?
I think there are times in everybody's life when they lose a little bit of it. They lose a little bit of faith.
Agreed.
It's normal.
Yep.
You forget about it. And it's very easy to thank God or whoever you believe in when things go right. It's very hard to still believe when things don't go the way you want them to go, or when things are very hard. First thing we do is complain.
Mm.
And I do the same thing. But that was a sort of experience that opened my eyes back to, there's something out there, because that's the only way to explain it, Chris.
Right.
There's nothing.
There's no logical explanation.
There's no logical thing that explains what happened to me.
Yep.
And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I pray every day at night. I don't talk about religion. I think everybody believes in whatever they want to believe. And the people that don't, that's fine. There's no judgment with me. I just take it as what I lived and the way it has helped me throughout everything else, throughout the hardships and being positive and believing in things and the way things happen. Things in my life have always been very instant and all of a sudden, and I have parachuted into many different areas of labor and work. And one thing I've learned with life is you got to be ready. You got to be ready to say yes. You have to take the chance.
Are you talking about like being riskier in what you do, or experiencing more, or
that? I think both. I think both in what you do and in things that you have no idea about. If the opportunity is there, you have to take it. Because a lot of times it goes by and then you don't know what could have happened. And I know it's very cliche to say that, but I am proof of that.
Right.
And I'll explain to you why. I had a commentating career, and that happened because I parachuted. I was in a show in Brazil with a fighter. It was an American show in Brazil. I had no idea. The The guy that they flew from the US to be the commentator in English could not make it. It just so happened that I was there. They asked me if I wanted to do it. In my head, being innocent, I was like, they have shows every month. This is probably for next month.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, of course I'll do it. I had never done it in my life.
Commentating.
Ever.
Yeah.
The guy calls me up the same night and goes, hey, can you come down? I have a button-up shirt for you. And I'm like, what, for what?
Yeah. What made him ask you that? Like, he knew that you were a fighter.
He knew I was American. He knew I spoke English. I speak Portuguese and English fluently.
Okay.
I was living in Brazil at the time already. So that's why for me, I was like, perfect. I'm going to talk about what I like.
Yeah.
It's English, which is my native tongue. Fine. I'll have a month to study it and know. Oh, it was the next day.
Wow.
I was lucky that it was 2 corners with my fighter. So the other guy walked in with him and I ended up commentating. So I come up to the table.
Yeah, that time. Yeah. Right.
There's 3 headphones. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to go to commentator 2 because he's the one that says the least. I have no idea what I'm doing. I sit down in commentator 2, put the headphones on. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Production guy comes over, taps on my shoulder and goes, hey, Tiago. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not Tiago, bro.
Him, yeah.
And he goes, oh, what's your name? And I was like, oh, my name's Max. And he goes, oh, you're in the wrong seat. I'm like, oh, what seat am I in? He goes, you're the main play-by-play.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
your first time.
what?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to do this? And I just kind of sat there and I thought to myself, I was like, look, man, you're talking about what you love with people that love it also. And you're literally just having a conversation about what you love. I just did it. And it actually went pretty smoothly for my first time. And then the owner of the show came out to me after and said, we loved it. And if you're living in Brazil, we'd rather have you here every month than flying somebody from the US. And then that's when I started.
In Brazil?
In Brazil, but doing it in English, which was crazy.
Right. Were you living at Brazil at that time?
I was living in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then that's when COVID hit.
Yep.
And then that's when my brother gave me the opportunity to come back. I went through the whole military thing. I was released, went to California, and then was able to work for another big promotion as a main play-by-play commentator and just stayed there for another year and a half.
Is this LFA now?
Yes. I was able to do it for LFA. I had that opportunity, so I was able to work with them on the Portuguese broadcast. So I would broadcast to Brazil in Portuguese. And, then that came to an end. And then we come back to Syndicate, which is my girlfriend, which I met through LFA. Lived in Vegas already, but we met in LA. She wanted just a little side gig just to make some extra cash. Her best friend, Emily, worked Syndicate, kind of referred her. She started working at the front desk also. And then I was like, since you're working there, I might as well train there.
Right.
So I started training there, and then an opportunity to become one of the amateur coaches came up. Emily told John about me. He had a quick talk. He's like, yeah, let's get you started. And I already had coaching experience for a long time, but I'm just very quiet when it comes to gyms. It's an environment that you can't talk too much, especially in the beginning, because it's easy to talk.
Why is that, Coach? Is it because of the gossip? Is it because of the...
No.
I kind of get what you're...
Like being the new guy.
Okay.
I don't want to sit there and say, I do this and I've coached for this.
Right.
Like they're going to think, who the hell is this guy?
Sure.
People don't know me, so I'm not going to come in talking a lot. I was very, very quiet and I was very respectful, as I always am with anybody. And slowly, people started seeing me holding pads and coaching. And then it kind of hit him. It's like, okay, like he knows what he's talking about.
Very well too.
He's doing.
Yeah. Like when you're holding pads, it's like, this guy's a fucking pro.
Yeah, I've done it for years. But like I said, I don't really like to just come off the top of just, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Because I'm always the guy that I like to be learning. And what I saw John doing really interested me, because I'm like, man, it's a very smart way to do the pads. And like I had my own way, but when I started seeing him doing it, I'm like, I think I could learn so much from him and adapt what I know into what he does and make it something that's mine and make it my style.
Make it your own, reverse engineer.
Yes, and make it my style in a way that works very well with the way the gym style works. I think everybody has something to add on.
Yes.
Coach Dom has a lot to add on. John is, the head honcho, and Jerry and Shane have a lot to add on.
Oh, yeah.
on the jiu-jitsu side. Conway has a lot to add on, and that's why I love the culture of Syndicate so much.
When you talked about what you learned from John, can you give me a little bit of specifics just for my own thing? Like what did you pick apart from his style of holding pads? Because you seem pretty smooth. Like I noticed when you're holding pads, you'll make
Slap
a cue to
the leg,
slap the leg. Yeah. I was like, that's slick.
Yeah.
And that's why I just a little bit of a backstory. That's why I almost got into, training in the first place, is because I was like, dude, that's so cool. Like, it looks so good and so sleek on video that when fighters are hitting it, it's hard to explain. It's almost like a dance. It's a float kind of self-expression dance. But some people are kind of sloppy with it. They're like, 1, 2.
I think I've always had in my head, like even when I was coaching in Brazil, the image that if I'm holding pads for somebody, I want to make it as real or as close to a fight as possible, right? So I'm not doing the 1-2s here because you're not punching anybody's shoulders.
Right.
You're doing the 1-2 here,
over here,
keeping it close to you want them to have everything aligned. I always had that though. But when I saw John holding pads, what really kind of opened my mind to was working the pads inside a cage is totally different. Having the fighter understand what cage control is, how to back up, how to press forward, making it look like a fight and not always calling everything out. You have to let the fighter express themselves in a way or another. You give them the option and then you give them 2 or 3 ways out. And then it's up to them to kind of see what fits them the most or what fits the game plan for the upcoming fight the most. I think that's what impacted me the most, is being able to work a game plan with a fighter inside a cage and letting them have the freedom of also expressing themselves. So it's not me calling all the shots.
Yes.
We'll have a strong base, but it's very good to be able to stop in the middle of a pad session and say, I asked for this cross after this kick. Do you feel comfortable doing that? And sometimes the fighter goes, yeah. Sometimes the fighter goes, not really. Okay, so let's try to fit it into what you're comfortable with. Unless it's something that we're trying to build, that we're trying to get them out of their comfort zone and trying to make them evolve a little bit more in a certain aspect of their striking or of their grappling or their takedown entries. Giving them the freedom makes it look better, right? So when I hold pads, I always like to build it up. We always start slow with the paddles, and I call the combinations, and I make sure they know what the combinations are. And I always say, when I say this is the combination. So I'm not calling each and every shot. I'm calling a combination.
Yep.
If I slap my leg and I do this, that means I want a cross and a leg kick.
Yep.
If I slap my leg and I want to cross, a leg kick, then a 3-2, the guy already knows, because we've been building that. We've been building that chemistry in between the guy that's hitting and the guy that's holding. I know where his hand's going to be. He knows where my paddle or my pad's going to be. So as soon as I slap my leg, he does a 3-4 piece combo, and I know where everything's going to be.
Yeah.
That's the chemistry.
And subconsciously, it's probably where his weight distribution is, and just knowing where his body is after he lands that leg kick.
That too, and also everybody has their own unique way of hitting. Through Syndicate, I've had the opportunity of, having John's trust of working with big UFC names like Cody Steele, Nazim Sadikov, Davey Grant, guys like that, Jackie Cavalcanti, number 11 in the bantamweight division. So it's like, and all of that just builds up. And the reason that's good is they see that they have the confidence in knowing that what you're asking is something that is really going to happen, or something that makes sense
in the fight.
Yeah, you're not bullshitting them.
Right.
You're not asking for a 35-piece combo, because guess what? You're not going to throw a 35-piece combo in a fight.
Yeah.
And if you do, then you're probably fighting your 2-year-old kid, because that's the only person that's going to let you do a 35-piece combo. So it's a lot of the chemistry, but everybody has their own little things. It's hard to work with fighters. Like when I say hard, it's hard in a good way. Like I think I've evolved the most holding pads for Nazim Sadikov.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why is that? Because I had talked to Charlie, and he mentioned you as your coach, and they're good friends, and so I was telling him when I was watching him, particularly on this Instagram with Conway when they were like close running, I was like, this guy is just a self-expression of like, it's crazy what he's doing. It's like the pattern. If I was like say fighting him, obviously he's up there in levels, but then it's just like you don't know where he's gonna go, and it feels like a dance to him. He's switching southpaw. He's going, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's throwing the leg, and then
there's a couple fighters that I would put up there. Definitely Davy Grant, Nazim Sadikov, as far as pro fighters, and Artur Minev.
What makes them? Oh, and why? Why would you?
So
put them up?
They're three different styles, totally different. Artur Minev, he's the main event this Friday for Fury.
Yep.
He's 21 years old, 5-0, all first round finishes under a minute. The kid's a beast from Ukraine. But he is very European style, very technical. Everything is very aligned, so it's very easy. Our chemistry was instant. He's the first guy that trusted me to work in the gym. He's like my younger brother nowadays. Yeah. I'm with him wherever he goes. I try to help him as much as possible. And he's just got that sense of he's got that awareness of that body language, of how his body moves. He's very aware of what you're presenting to him, how he gets away from that. That's why it's good to work with him. That's why I've learned so much working with him, because his style is very similar to mine. Pad-wise, the things that I asked for, so connected from the beginning. Davy Grant is probably the guy that looks like he hits the least hard from the three, but it's probably the guy that hits the hardest.
Really?
Davy is just a beast. Like his front kicks, his teeps, his body shots, his 1-2s. Like I go home and I feel it. Like I'll go home and I'm going to be sore.
Yep.
Because when you get into that chemistry, like he hits me with a cross and a body shot and I know it hurt, but you're in that moment and he's cracking it hard. He's doing it right where it's supposed to be. So I keep asking for it. I'm as crazy as he is.
Yeah, and you're in the zone too.
And I'm in the zone.
Like already in the flow state. Yeah.
There's this beautiful flow state that happens. And Nazim, and the reason why I say I've evolved so much holding pads for Nazim is simply because he is so unorthodox.
Right. That's the word that I was getting at. I'm like, whoa.
He moves very differently. He's got a ton of little twitches and moves and feints and fakes that I tell him a lot. Like, I go home when I used to hold pads for him for every camp. I would go home, my elbow would be hurting, and not because of impact, but because I asked for a 1-2. When you ask for a 1-2, you're making everything tight for that 1-2.
You're bracing the impact.
But when I ask for the 1-2, he's a very good guy at feinting. So when I ask for a 1-2, he'll do this, and then I'll go, but he doesn't throw it.
Oh shit!
And then he does it again.
Yeah, right.
And then I hold it.
Yeah.
And then the third one he throws a 1-2, and then I get it. But just from doing this, I'm like, bro, like you're making me look like I don't know what the hell I'm doing here.
Right.
But eventually, we got into a very, very good flow state. With creating our own combinations and things that, again, he's a southpaw. So things that work with him. I'm an orthodox. So when you're holding pads for a southpaw, it's already hard because everything in your mind is the other way around.
Right.
But now you're working with a southpaw that is throwing awkward angled kicks up to your head. When you spin, he's spinning kicks to your body
on the wrong side. Because
it's an awkward position to be in, but it just makes me very grateful to be able to work with guys like Artur and Davy and Nazim, simply because it shows me that I'm able to place myself on that level,
right,
to hold pads for guys that are at the highest level.
Yeah, you have proof, like. That's where confidence comes from.
Yes, 100%. But again, I'm always a student of the game.
Yep.
I learn a lot. Sometimes I would just sit in the cage and watch John hit pads with somebody and just watch, just analyze and say, oh man, he
Like a
does this.
sponge.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, he does that. That's so smart. And then I'll put that into my game. And I'll watch Dom hitting pads. And Dom is a coach that has evolved tremendously.
Me and John were
inside the
talking
gym.
about it. Yep.
You know, and he's young. I just turned 40. Dom is like 26, and he's already at a level that's good. So I'll sit, and I remember in the beginning, even when I walked in, I would tell Dom like, "Hey, bro, don't do this, do this." And I just watch him hit pads, and it's fun for me. You know, I'm proud of the guy because like, man, he evolved so much. He's really put every ounce of sweat equity into the gym, and it's a proud moment kind of just see the guy evolve. You know, so I learned from him also.
Yeah. Can you talk? Oh man, that's a lot of wisdom right there. Can you talk to me about how? So I'm kind of a systems thinker. Like, what is your process of like when you see John hold pads, or say Dom or someone that you like are learning from? What are you conscious about those thoughts, or are you just letting it simmer in your subconscious? Like, are you just watching it, or are you taking notes? Are you looking at the one thing that they do? Like, what is your process in getting all that information? Because there's a lot to take in.
They're always mental notes for me. Like, I'm not a guy that'll literally grab a piece of paper and write it down. And the reason I don't do that is because I'm not looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at one specific thing that caught my eye. Yep. And I just look at that over and over again every time he does it. And I'm looking at how he's standing, how he's calling it, in which situation he's calling it, where in the cage they are for him to be calling it. You know, so it's like all those little situations, and it starts making more sense to me. And that's how I analyze it. And then, of course, I put it into the things that I already do and make it and make it make sense. Because I think the hardest thing about being a coach, and I always say this, great fighters aren't always great coaches and vice versa.
Coach, can I like, I wrote down this note before we had this podcast, right? And the first thing, and it's great that we had that conversation in the beginning. The first thing that I was going to ask you was pretty general, but then what makes a great coach? Because sometimes, like Michael Jordan, they don't translate well into being a great player into being a great coach. So that's a great segue to get into what translates a good coach into, or what translates like a good practitioner and then all of a sudden into a coach. Like,
I think the first thing is, obviously you need to have experience. All right. And when I say experience, I'm not saying you need to have 45 fights.
Yep.
You know, but you need to understand the community. You need to be a part of it. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand how it evolves.
Yep.
Second thing is, one of the most important things about being a coach is being able to transmit what you're thinking and what you're teaching to that person. You need to be able to have the correct vehicle of information to make him understand.
How do you articulate that to them?
I think it depends on person to person. It depends on who I'm dealing with. I try to understand that person's background and the way I can connect with them easier. If he likes music or if he likes sports, whatever it is.
Yeah, you got to build that trust.
You got to build that trust, and you got to be very, very patient in the sense of knowing, especially the people that are starting off, they're going to make the same mistake over and over and over again. And the last thing you want to do is get them discouraged and get them thinking that they can't do it. It's correcting them. It's fixing it. I always just try to keep it fun. I have good humor. I try to make them laugh all the time. I have a specific kind of humor that, all the fighters like, and it's very typical, but, sometimes like Annabelle is one of our fighters. Yeah. Very, very nice fighter. She comes up to me, she says something, I was like, stop being a bitch. Stop it. But I'm being serious, but it's making, and then they laugh. And I think having that distraction, and none of us are there with a gun to our heads. We're there doing what we love. So it's supposed to be fun. Yes. And the way a good coach is a coach that knows how to pass that on to his student. And you have to make them absorb it. You have to know how to do that. It's not, we're throwing a 1-2. It's why you're throwing a 1-2. And what situation are you throwing a 1-2?
Yeah.
In what situation do you not throw a 1-2? It's making them understand the many types of variance that you have for a 1-2. That's why I always say a good fighter will not always be a good coach and vice versa.
Right.
You know, a lot of fighters don't know, they know how to fight.
Yeah.
They don't know how to pass on their knowledge.
Do you think that skill can be learned, or do you think it's just they're too, rightfully so, they're focused on like their fighting aspect of it? Like, meaning, so what I'm really trying to say is that coaching is a whole different skill within itself. And then a lot of fighters, I think, you know, from who I talk to and based on the experience, they think they could go right into coaching because they know how to fight.
I believe it's a skill that you can develop, but I also believe not everybody is made for coaching. It's
Why
not
is
that patience.
Mm.
You need to have
There you
patience.
go. There you go.
To be a coach and to be a good coach, you're not just a coach, man. You're a psychologist.
It's true.
You're a parent.
It's true. Therapist.
You're a therapist. You're
a bartender.
you're a bartender. You're a massage therapist.
Yep.
You know, you're a doctor.
That's right.
You're
Mm.
everything. You're a financial advisor. You're not just a coach. And a lot of guys, like fighters, are not prepared to be all of that yet. And then again, there's no course you go out and do to become a coach. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to be a coach. But then that's why we always say there's levels to the game, not only for fighters, but for coaches.
Absolutely.
And the biggest example of that is when you go to regional shows. Last week, I was at a regional show in Idaho with one of our amateur fighters, and you're in the locker room getting ready for a fight, and you look at the other coaches, and you notice the difference. The professionalism is different. They don't have their materials. They don't have tape. They don't have gauze. They don't have scissors. They don't have buckets.
Yeah.
So they don't, like, they're there just to be there. Like, they don't really get it. You know, it's like, it's a little show. You know, you're going to go.
Yeah.
If you lose, it's okay. No, like, if my fighter loses, I'm more upset than he is.
Yeah, right.
You know, I go back home and I start rethinking, what did I do wrong? What should I not do again? What did I do right? Where was my mistake? Because it's not because your fighter goes in there and he gets knocked out, but it's his fault because he didn't lift up his left guard. Maybe you as a coach didn't emphasize it enough for him to lift that left guard. Maybe you didn't study his opponent as thoroughly as you should have to know that he's going to throw that. So it's a big responsibility. People don't understand. Like, my birthday was Sunday. I had a fighter fighting on Friday. If he had lost, it would have ruined my weekend.
Yeah, right.
Because I feel it. Like, I don't want them to lose. It's going to happen, but you work so hard, you know, and you dedicate yourself and your time to these kids, and you hop on to this train called Dream, and you have to go with them, you know, and you have to believe in them more than they believe in themselves sometimes. And I also think it's a two-way street. A lot of these fighters make me believe in myself a lot more than I believe in myself sometimes, you know? But when you're on that train, my man, you're on that train. You know, you got to ride the dream with them, you know? And you lose family time.
Sure.
You lose birthdays. You lose everything. Like, I see John doing it, and that's why I look up so much to him, because the guy travels so much, and I see him. Father's Day, he's out. His birthday, he's out. You know, he's missing out on time with his family. That's why I'm so grateful to be able to be in an environment where the coaches can take over for him now, in case he does have to leave, you know, and have his own family time. Because 25 plus years in the sport, building the gym to what it is, building a guy like Merab from almost nothing to one of the greatest to ever do it in the bantamweight division, the SB Athlete of the Year.
That's gnarly.
That's inspiration, you know. So you look up to the guy and you're like,
it's a resume.
This is what being a successful coach is, you know. And he's taking advantage of the moment, and he helps the gym, and he's always very thorough in saying, in our coaches meeting, you know, this couldn't happen without you guys, which is great to hear.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you're putting in your time also, in your body, and you know, I always say, people go, how do you do it, Max? We see you getting beat up all the time in this cage. Some parents asked me the other day, they're like, how do you do this? Like, we see you every day here, and every time you're in this cage, you're getting the shit beat out of you. I'm like, well, I have a sponsor. It's called ibuprofen. You know, 2 before, 2 after.
Right.
We're good
Yeah,
to go.
we're good.
So
Yeah. So with one thing that stuck out when I was talking to John was the culture of it.
mhm.
And over the years, I've been going there for 6 years now, not very long to be honest. But then I've seen as a student, right, as a student, I just seen people come in and out. And now being in the business space, I understand what stuck out to me the most. What he said was that when he started changing the culture, meaning the people that were involved, the coaches, more than likely, the pieces started to come together, right? Because just like how you have a high regard for him, to me it seems like when I was talking to him, he has a high regard for you guys. He's talking about Jerry Shapiro, you on the pod. Maybe not in recording, but then just pieces that he's put together. It's like when he said that, I'm like, oh, that's the formula. Because you need people with integrity, I think is what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, you need loyal soldiers. That's what it is. It's not a game that you're going to make tons of money. Yeah. Especially at the level that we're at, obviously John has gotten there, with a lot of sweat equity and hard work, and he made it, which is great. And that's an inspiration to us, but it's not a place that you're going to make tons of money. And that brings in the love factor. A lot of people ask me like, why do you do this, bro? Like, you're always limping, you're taking ibuprofen, it's like what you're doing, right. It's like, what are you doing with your life?
Yep.
And it's like, it's what I love. It's what I love. And I'm fortunate enough, like I said, I always try to do good. I think I don't do good expecting nothing in return. But I think in life, when you do good, that good will come back to you in one way or another.
Absolutely. That's one of my general rules, coaches, that or one of my principles is that if you're just that person of being kind and giving, and give first, because I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, he or she didn't give me anything, so I'm not. So we play this game with each other where it's like this egotistical game where it's like, well, he didn't do anything for me, so I'm not going to do anything for him. Give first, man. And then don't expect it from the same person. It'll just come back around because you are that type of person now to give. And people will see that. They'll be like, dude, yeah, fuck yeah. Like they see you giving. And I don't necessarily how it works because it seems like faith-based. It's not tangible. You know what I mean? It's like you give, I give, you give. It's not that. It doesn't work that way.
No.
I think it's just when people see it, if you're kind, they know you have a kind soul. People are really good at having bullshit meters.
Oh, yeah.
People are good at that. Evolutionary in us, it's like, oh, man, like this guy is just a fake mother, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, Coach, one last thing before we end the spot, and thank you for your time again. With all the experiences that you had that was some crazy storytelling, by the way. I was getting goosebumps. I was like, oh, man. But with all that, how, looking back, not even just with coaching and fighting, what's the one takeaway, just the one takeaway that you can take out of all the experiences from what you told me about, being kept in a military police? What is the lesson to learn? And then that got you to syndicate, what you've learned from that, if you were to put it all together.
I think I wouldn't be able to put it in one.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple, but
pretty general. I mean, if you could go through those, just,
I definitely say, like, I'm a very motivated guy. People that follow me on social media, they know that every day I am posting a motivational quote.
Where does that come from?
Because that's what I am. I think of social media as a representation of what I am. Yeah. And every time I post something, there's always somebody that sends me a text every day, Chris. I swear to God, that goes, man, I really needed to hear this.
I believe you.
And I just think, if this is what I feel I should post today, it's because there's somebody out there that needs to listen to it, that needs to hear it. So I'm always the guy that says, discipline over motivation. Motivation will get you started. Discipline will keep you going. When you feel it feels scary to jump, take the fucking jump.
I love that one, man.
Go.
Yeah.
You might already be living your dream. You don't even know it. Don't take coming back home for granted. People do that. They close their doors and they leave. I lost my mom 9 years ago, talking to her on a Friday, and she passed away on a Saturday from a heart attack. And for a long time, I would go to sleep saying I didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye. I didn't have the opportunity to say all the things I wanted to say to her. And that's why I always tell people, sometimes I'll come up to a random, like there's a lot of Eastern Europeans and there's a lot of guys that I'm very, very close to. And I'll come up to the guy and I'll hug him and say, I love you, bro.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks at me and he's like, Coach, why are you saying that? I was like, I feel it. If I feel it, I say it.
Right.
You know, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, bro. You know, if I feel it, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, and I'm going to make sure you know. And the people that I love and the people that I cherish and that I protect, I make sure they know that I care about them and that I love them. May that be through small, random acts of kindness, which is something I think the world needs a lot more.
Yeah, agreed.
Random acts of kindness, you know, don't expect nothing in return. Just do it. Whether it's giving somebody a hug, whether it's cheering somebody up or making them laugh.
Giving them a compliment, a genuine compliment.
Or understanding that maybe they're not having a good day and sit down and you might be that person that they just want to open up and talk to and get it off of their chest and have a better day. You know, there's a lot. Like I wouldn't be able to get one quote and tell you that this is what I live by according to what I lived in life, because the one thing I have learned in life is you just got to be ready and willing to say yes. You know, your best decision is on the other side of insecurity.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful for sure. A few things to that too is I agree with you with the a few things that stuck out to me is that when you say, you know, you have to just pretty much what you said is take your opportunities when you could take them. Life is very, very short, man. Yeah. And that's cliche within itself, but it really is. It really is. There's no dancing around that. It's such a basic principle, but then I think that we all think that we have forever to live, which me and you are 40 now. And we know how fast time goes, even with your hardship situations. I mean, dude, that was 3 years ago, and I'm sure you remember it just like this, right?
And I'll
it's
tell
like,
you something, bro. I think one of the great secrets in life, Chris, is being surrounded by the right people. Absolutely. Now, of course, the right people aren't always going to be around you. Sometimes it's the wrong people, but I think life takes care of getting the wrong people out of your life. And I'm living a phase in my life right now that I have all the right people beside me.
That's great.
Yep. You know, I think having a ride or die that you can count on, like my girlfriend. She is my ride or die.
That's such a big one, dude. That's such a big one. I don't understand how. I know we're kind of veering off, but then I don't understand. Like I listen to a lot of like psychology, psychotherapy, and stuff, and people don't vet the person that they're gonna be with 24/7 a day. They're attracted to them. I get what's going on in the brain, like neurotransmitters are going off, euphoria. You know what I mean, and all these chemicals, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's get married. Fuck it. They don't. When it comes down to that, those chemicals are so strong, they don't vet their partner, that's the one thing in life that you should be vetting, like taking an interview on and really like looking into
my
it.
Girlfriend is my best friend.
Yeah.
100%.
Should be. Yeah.
She is my best friend. She is a person that knows everything about my life. She knows the things I'm scared of. She knows the wrong things I've done in my life. She knows the right things I've done in my life. And she's a person, and we always say this to each other. You're down, I'll pick you up.
Yep.
I'm down, you'll pick me up. And that's how important it is. She is my support system. Do I believe in myself? Yes. Or else I wouldn't have done all the things I've done without knowing them, just because I'm confident in myself. But there's going to be that day, Chris, that you're going to wake up and you're going to think you're the shittiest person on this planet because of something you did wrong, or because of a mistake you made, or because you're not as good as you thought you were. That day is going to come. That split second or that half a day that you're down. And when you have that ride or die, that person that comes up to you and says, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? This is not you. This is you. This is what you do. Look at what you've done. And there's been times like months ago where I was down. I wasn't working for the LFA anymore. I was like, man, what am I going to do now? You know, like, and I had my girlfriend that came up to me, picked my chin up and said, hey, did you forget who you are?
Yeah.
Look at all the shit you've been through. Look at where you were 4 years ago. Look at where you are now. It's going to be okay. And just that little sentence, that is the most cliche thing ever, comforts you because it's coming from the right person.
Yeah.
Hey, it's going to be okay. 4 months ago, Chris, a guy walked into Syndicate named George Quinn. This guy has become one of my best friends. He owns a sports card trading business. which is something that I've never done. I've never even played video games in my life. I've never had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the time to do it because I was always the man. I had to be supporting my mom. I never had time to sit down. If you give me a remote control right now for a video game, I don't know how to use it.
Right.
I'd be like, okay, I'll just use it as like paperweight or something,
right.
you know? And then parachuting into something, he starts hitting pads with me because he was, feeling overweight. He wanted to lose some weight. One day he comes up to me and he goes, does anybody here need a job? I just want to help people. That's the kind of person he is.
Yep.
Like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes, there's my Ukrainian fighters that need a job. They're working Uber and DoorDash and they don't make a lot. He's like, cool. Tell them to go to my office. I'm going to get them a job. Perfect. 2-3 pad sessions later, they're making good money. They're sorting sports cards.
Yep.
Something they've never done in their life. He comes up to me and he goes, you have been in the broadcasting business. You're good on a camera. I work with live streaming. You've been in the fight game forever. You can come work with me if you want. I was like, look, man, the gym is my priority. And he's like, I'm not going to take up any time at the gym. Started going in, started seeing it, started understanding it. And I started understanding how big of a culture it is to trade and to collect sports cards. And now I'm part of a streaming platform on the biggest sports card selling company in the world.
That's amazing, man. Yep.
So, I have the opportunity. I work from most of the times. I sleep 2-3 hours every 2 days. So I wake up on a Monday, let's say. I go to the gym. I work at the gym all day. Yep. Come back home at like 5-6 o'clock. I'll sleep till like 11. And I'll wake up at 11 o'clock at night. I'll shower. I'll get into the office at 1 a.m.
Damn.
I'll stream from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then I'll go back home. I'll shower. Go back to the gym the next day. I'm at the gym all day. Yep. Then I'll only sleep at night again. So people are like, why do you do this? How do you do this? And I said, first of all, with the things that I've gone through in my life, being 40 years old, I believe I'm way behind what I wanted to be at 40 years old.
Yep.
So it's putting your head down and just working.
That's a motivator.
It's putting your head down and working. And this job has given me the opportunity to be at the gym and do it for love.
Yeah.
Pure love. That's it.
That's amazing.
Because it's my money maker now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in a different niche, which also gets me out of
the
fight world a little bit.
Sure.
The aggression. And
sure.
Do I do UFC cards? Yes. I do football. I do basketball. I do soccer. But the good thing is you're on camera, you're on a live stream with hundreds of people, and people come in and they see you and they recognize you and they go, wait a minute, I know who you are. Aren't you one of the coaches at Syndicate? And then they follow you, and then it creates a connection.
Yeah.
And that comes part of always being ready to say yes.
Yep.
For a man that has never played video games in his life, to come into a trading card business, to sell literally paperboard cutouts of grown men, and be able to sell that on a live auction to people from all around the world is crazy.
That is crazy. There's so much leverage in today's society. I mean, just for example, this podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen as production has gotten better, obviously, everything, what you're saying is everything's like interconnected into an ecosystem. So it's almost like this podcast, it's gotten you here, right? And I'm sure you've seen the distribution in social media, those clips and stuff. John Wood's been on here, and it's a trickle up effect. It's like, oh, that opportunity will cause this opportunity because people recognize you are, it builds trust. It's just so crazy how it works. And I think as 40-year-old men that are getting older, I feel the same way. Sometimes we are our harshest critic. It's like looking at the mirror when you first started going to gym, there's no progress. And with your girlfriend, your best friend, kudos to her, because we need that. Sometimes we need that external validation. Sometimes we can't get it from internal. We need someone that we love and care about to let us know that. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's the proper way of validation, not just like, oh, look at the car I got. Like that's the proper way with your girl.
You need somebody that's going to ride your dream train with you and want to be in the front and and experience everything and believe and know you're getting there. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, I have that with her, and you know, I wouldn't want that with anybody else.
Yeah,
absolutely. Simply because I found the one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 40 years old, and there is a huge gauge gap between us. She's almost 30, but it's 11 years. So in the beginning, I was kind of worried. I was like, man,
it's pretty normal.
You know, her parents, you know, but like her parents are like my parents, and her dad is like my friend, and her mom is like my mom. You know, so I think everybody needs it, man. I don't think you should chase it.
Yeah.
I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's going to come. I think chasing is when you get into the wrong relationships, or you're desperate, you're thinking you need. Look, man, I agree that some people are just better off on their own, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, would I be able to be alone? No. That's why I'm so grateful to have found the person that I found.
You've got a taste of the good life now, meaning that you find the right girl. Yes. That's why. I mean, Coach, I mean, from me to you, you could do whatever you want, regardless, right?
Yeah.
On your own. And you've told me that story. So that's how I know. But yeah, to have that addition, I always say, you know, I've had 4-year long-term relationships, but what I got out of that is that I need someone to add to my life, not, you know, take away from it, right? That's the biggest thing. But Coach, this has been a incredible storytelling, by the way. I was so in the zone. I was in a flow state, like we were hitting pads. But let's get it in. What do you have over there, man?
So this is the 2025 Topps Chrome UFC. This is a new release. There was an Ilia Topuria card, not from this year, but from like 3 years ago, that just sold for over $100,000.
Wow.
So I don't know what we're gonna have in here. But courtesy of Blaze, you know, the company that I work for, Blaze Sports Cards, one of the biggest companies in the world. We're gonna open this up, and this is literally what I do for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. There it is. And people just watch me just open.
This is my first time.
So this is addictive, right? This is called Breaker's Delight. It only comes with 1 pack of cards inside.
1 pack. Okay.
1 pack, right?
Oh, okay. I
with
see.
1 pack.
Damn, nice packaging, by the way.
Yes. The good thing about this is that there's a box called Hobby, and it's a bigger box, and it comes with 12 of these packs.
Yep.
So your chances of getting something big with 1 pack is a lot bigger, simply because Breaker's Delight has 12 cards, and they're mostly numbered cards.
Okay.
The numbered cards are the expensive cards that you want.
Because they're like exclusive.
They're exclusive.
Right.
So they're numbered to 50. They're numbered to 25, which means there's only 25 in the world.
Right.
They're numbered to 2, which means there's only 2 cards in the world.
A damn Lamborghini or something.
Yes.
Like special edition, yeah.
We're going to open this up. This is crazy, because I still have fun with this.
I used to collect Marvel cards, and I know a lot.
We do Marvel too.
Yes.
Okay.
Like holograms and that stuff. Yeah.
So we have... So there's different kinds of cards, right? This right here is just a basic refractor. It's a base card. So we're going to pull out the 3 in the back are normally the base cards. And then the 3 in the front are normally base cards. So this is a refractor of Ioana Jędrzejczyk. This is a base card. She's a champion. This is a refractor of Piera Rodriguez. She is actually a good friend of mine from Venezuela.
Very nice.
These are called silver geometrics because they got a geometric figure on it. So this one is Javid Basharat. This one is Hyung-Sung Park, which is also a good card. And then Sean O'Malley.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The biggest chases in this product, the ones that they really want, are the champions.
Sure. Who's
right? So the Ilia Topurias, Alex Pereiras. If we find anything with an autograph, like on card, that's a pretty big.
Now, are the autographs, they're signing them, or is it just like...
Oh, they're signing
them. They're signing them.
That's
like
why
legit.
They're so cool.
Damn.
So
they took the time to do that, huh?
So this is actually a big card right here. Yeah. This is a purple. This is Yair Rodriguez. This is a 10 of 10.
Jeez.
So there's only 10 cards like this on this planet right now. So this is a big card. I'm going to leave it to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is so fascinating.
We actually have a non-card autograph.
What? Let's go.
Yes, I'm going to leave that one for last.
Okay.
We actually have 2 autographs.
Okay.
We have Toshiomi Kazama. It's a gold, so it's numbered to 50. There's only 50 of these in the world.
Okay.
You see the number? It's right here.
Yes.
Yes. So it's numbered.
It's almost ingrained in there,
Yeah.
right? Like engraved.
So this is a good card. And the RC means he's a rookie.
Okay.
Nate the Train that just fought. This is a blue geometric, which is numbered to 99. So this is not as rare. There's 99 of these cards on the planet.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I'm
there you
starting
go.
to see the system.
Yes.
There. Okay, I get it.
This is another blue, which is also to 99 of Barlow. And then, wow, this is crazy. I'm going to leave this for, I don't even know who the hell this is. This is actually a pretty big card. Tracy Cortez for Future Stars.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that.
There we go.
Who doesn't want a Tracy?
Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
Tracy Cortez.
That's what we're all here for.
This is an on-card auto, which means you can see it. Like if you take a look at it, there's no sticker. She signed it on the card.
Yes.
So it's not a bunch of stickers that they glue on it.
Right.
They literally sign it. This one's not numbered, so we don't know how many of these we have. This is Manon Fiorot. This is a different gold. You see how there's little things on the back?
Yeah.
Right? Pretty cool.
Yep.
And let's see who this autograph is. So this is how we do it. We normally reveal it. Raquel Pennington.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
This is called Mark of a Champion. So she autographs on the card, and only champions have this card. She's actually pretty good.
Can I see that again?
Yes. So the biggest cards we pulled from this little pack was a Tracy Cortez and then a purple of Yair Rodriguez.
Nice.
The funniest thing about this, though, Chris, is that I'll pull Marab cards. And it's like, I know the guy. Like, he trained.
Right.
It's weird. It's a weird feeling. I'll pull Chepe Mariscal, which just came to the gym.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the card on the stream, and this is crazy. Like, I was literally with the guy yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, we've pulled JoJo.
Right.
We pulled JoJo, which is
JoJo,
crazy.
man.
Like, I'm just starting to laugh because I can hear her accent in my head, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, how you
With
doing
her
today,
clips.
man?
Yeah.
But you know, this is the other thing I do, man, and it's exciting. I love it. Can you imagine doing that for like 30 boxes?
Yeah.
So every one is a different like adrenaline, and then you hit a huge card. The other day I hit an Ilya Taporia liquid silver. Yeah. Which is a card that has melted silver in it.
What?
Yes. The guy that bought that card, so it's a live auction. And it's gambling. It's live gambling. It's totally legal. You have 241 names on a spinning random wheel. 241 UFC names. And they're auctioning. There's 20-second auctions for one spot. They bid. The auction goes live. They're bidding for 20 seconds.
Yep.
All of a sudden, that spot sold for $60. I spin the wheel.
Yep.
They get Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And then just like that, I fill in 241 spots.
Oh, wow.
After the spots are all filled in, I open the boxes.
Yeah.
It's gambling.
Sure.
If Joanna Jędrzejczyk came out, we send it to you because you bought the spot that has her name on it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
If you got Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she might not come out. That means you get nothing. So you're trying your luck. So this guy comes in, which is a guy that's always buying on the page, and I'm doing a spin 10, keep 10, which means we're spinning the wheel 10 times. You're keeping all 10 names. And I have the price up for $150. He comes in the room, he buys it for $150. We spin the wheel, he gets 10 names. One of the names is Ilya Taporia. I pull him in one of the boxes in Ilya Taporia liquid silver.
Oof.
That card, it's not huge, but that's $2,500 for the card.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat goes, I'm a buyer. He sells it right away. So he paid $130, made $2,500.
Wow.
So it happens with everything. Like there's
Yeah.
big dogs that come in and they want to buy a whole box of NHL. Boom. The guy buys it. We did that the other day. This guy is a very big buyer. He bought the whole box. And this product, this hockey product that we have for NHL, they're very, very thick cards. And they have pieces of the jerseys in the card. They have the buttons from the helmet. They have pieces of the hockey stick. Everything.
Collector's items.
Yes.
Yep.
So he bought the whole box, the whole case for $7,000. And that case had 4 boxes. In one of the boxes, we found a hockey card that had cutouts of the jersey, game-worn jersey.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
You know how much he sold that card the next day for?
Hold on.
He bought the case for $7,000.
He bought the case for $7,000.
Yes.
I would guess the card. Let's say 25.
Exactly what he sold it for.
No way. Are you? No. Are you serious? Let's go. I was gonna go like 50, but I was like,
$25,000. I mean, and then again, it's that thing, right? You know, play big, win big, high risk, high.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Agreed. Yep.
So he did that, and he paid $7,000, and he made 25.
Amazing.
You know,
wow, dude.
That's just the way it works. But we always try to get as many people involved in it as possible, just for like the collecting. You know, it's so fun.
Yes.
Especially for us, since we're around being in such a big gym. It's the craziest thing ever when you pull a card and the guy's like just walking around like next to you.
Yeah, Marab's just chilling.
Yeah, like for the ones that are in the gym, Marab, Chepe, Luana Santos, and I believe there's one more. Aljamain Sterling.
Yep.
Their cards always come out, and I just start laughing. They're guys, what are you laughing at? I was like, it's crazy because I literally hit pads with the guys.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
People are like, I want that autograph card. And I don't really want it because I literally have contact with the guy. I talk to him at the gym every day.
We're texting.
Yeah. But, you know, again, that just falls into being ready to say yes.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I fell into a spot that I love and I have fun and I'm able to extend the fighting world into another genre.
Yes.
It's cool, man. It's a cool spot.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you reap what you sow, and then you just have to keep sowing, and then eventually it'll reap. Now, I love what you said about like the patience thing, because a lot of people can't handle that kind of patience. Patience is just such a skill. It's almost, again, we're veering off, but then it's like when people go to work, right? And of course, people got to pay their bills and all that stuff, but then they don't want to trade that, like waiting for the compound interest to kick in, instead of just doing what they don't love to do. It's like, damn, I'm going to be doing this forever. It's like, well, you have to be patient and really work at an art that you're passionate about.
And it's also like, look, man, and again, and I'm always bringing it back to what I live because it's the experience that I have. There's no perfect timing for anything.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the perfect time because guess what? It's going to go by. You're not even going to notice it. The perfect time to do something is when you are up to doing it.
Yes.
That's the perfect time to do it.
Perfectionism is the killer of all dreams, because I think that's what they're like, oh, we got to make everything perfect. Actually, it's an invert. People say if you go to the gym, they're like, oh, let me get 6-pack abs first and then I'll be ready to go to the gym. It's like,
yep.
Okay.
It's like, it's what I say this a lot also, you know, insecurity is the graveyard for your dreams.
Oh, yep.
You know, it's a graveyard for your dreams simply because if you're not secure enough or, you know, strong enough to do it, you're going to let it die.
Yeah.
You know, the safe zone is not good. The safe zone is the place where your dreams go to die.
Yep. Man.
And being comfortable is not it, man.
Nah.
Being uncomfortable is what's going to make you grow. Day by day, placing yourself in uncomfortable situations, not only understanding that you're better than you think you are because you're overcoming things that you believed were hard, but looking back at it and saying, fuck, man, if I hadn't done that.
Bro, yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm pretty sure you went through something similar doing a podcast.
Of course.
With everybody doing it, the doubts that are in your mind, like, why am I going to be just another one? What can I do different? Is this even going to work?
Yeah.
I'm dedicating my time. But guess what? Fuck it. You did it. You took the step. You took the leap.
No regrets. Yeah, no regrets. And what people most say in their deathbeds is not the money that they made. It's not, you know, this external thing. It's what they didn't do, right? As far as experience. And it's, I wish I would have done this. Well, that's what everyone's saying. So, it's like that.
It's like, I know it's a little bit harsh to even say this, but like, what are people going to remember you as?
Right.
A little bitch that didn't do anything?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was scared of doing everything that could have been huge, that could have built something big, that could have left humanity something cool, that could have left good memories and good lessons.
Your legacy.
And what did you do? You were selfish enough to keep them to yourself because you were too scared to go out there and fucking do what you had to do.
Right. The value that you can give to other people, man. That's amazing advice, Coach. But anyway, I know you have to train. This was a great podcast, man. One of my most favorites. I'm telling you, that storytelling in the beginning is next level. It gave me goosebumps, and it was quite like, man, you could really feel it. And I love a good, when it comes to communication, because that's what I'm really into because of the podcasting game and public speaking.
Yeah.
That's really like, you took me through a ride, I feel like, and the audience as well.
Yeah.
That was,
I'll tell you, man, like on my drive over here, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to talk about this, man. This is kind of a delicate subject. People have different perspectives on it. Like I said, there were people that called me, a deserter, you're a bitch, why? But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's the same way with my little motivational themes that I post on my stories every day. I do it half because of me, half because I think somebody needs to hear that.
Absolutely.
And having a big vehicle and having such a nice podcast and such an organized and well-seen podcast like yours.
I appreciate it.
This was my opportunity to be able to maybe reach somebody that's in a similar situation. Or maybe not as similar, but somebody that's going through something in life, and I'm able to tell them, I am living proof that when you do something wrong, being wrong or not, and you man up to it, and you admit it, and you try to fix it, good things will happen.
Yes.
And guess what? If you have to go through some shit because of what you did wrong, then you're just paying for what you did. And after that, life goes on.
Yep.
You know why? Because nobody on this planet can point a finger at you. Because everybody has their own shit. And after I lived that, Chris, I stopped putting people on a fucking pedestal. You know why? Because the people I was putting on a pedestal were more fucked up than me, Chris.
Right.
And then I'm like, so this is what it is. Be your own man. Put yourself on the pedestal. Value what you know. Value what you've been through. Be open to learning. Be open to teaching. Be open to understanding and listening.
Yep.
That's it.
Amazing. Amazing. Again, I appreciate your time, Coach. This was a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of learning.
Thank you.
Just as you said. I appreciate you.
Thank you.